Hello. Hello, Kaz. Hello, Rachel. Hello, possible person. All the other sisters. Oh, I messed it up. I didn't say hello, sisters. I just said hello. Well, whatever. Okay. Oh, it's Para G books. Definitely when I was reading the notes and referencing this publication or publishing house, I definitely said Para G books. Okay. Where's the beginning of this chapter? This was fucking heavy. I'm glad I did it all in one sitting. Like, obviously I'm exhausted and my tongue feels weird. But I feel like it was all really connected. That's why there was no like ellipses. There was one ellipses and it was like 10 pages before the end. It was basically like the conclusion, the last 10 pages. Um but like it would have been really weird to stop there. It's like all the momentum of the book is getting tied up at the end. Um I don't know how much analysis I'm going to have of this. Like you guys are saying it. You're like it's so applicable. Like yes, like everything is so literally I kept being like, "Oh, I want to quote this. Oh, I want to quote this. Oh, I want to share this quote." Like every fucking paragraph. I feel you, Rad Blue Bay. Mama, come say hello. She looks intense, but she's basically asleep. Okay. Well, we're gonna put you down. But I want you to stay here this time, okay? Instead of jumping on my keyboard and running away. Are you ready for your mission to sleep in this spot? Okay, that was not great. Just lie down, please. Please. Don't start playing. Just lie down and go to sleep. I believe in you. She's not. Everybody thinks she looks angry. She's not angry. She's half asleep. She's like, it's too much energy to keep her eyeballs open. That's what she. You need a mouse, Momo? It's not my fault you're very good at hiding them. I had like two of them here. What did you do to them? Okay. So I think instead of doing an analysis of the entire chapter, I'm just going to focus on some of the big points and keep this pretty short because I'm so fucking tired. Like I was yawning a lot. I'm very tired. I didn't sleep. I got 6 hours of sleep. Then I went to work this morning and like what time is it? I've almost been awake for 12 hours already. Like I've had a kind of long day and I still have lots of stuff to do today. So okay, so she defines anti-feminism as any act, stance, behavior, attitude that perpetuates or enables women hating. Women hating, according to her, is anything that hurts women in a systemic way. So whether that's language, right? Which fuck, I was thinking about that. I was like, imagine if I went to my workplace and I was like, every time someone says the word bitch, I want to like report it as like a like a misogynist slur. Imagine how my workplace would take that. They would laugh at me. Anyway, but she extends that to like from language to like enforcing traditional like gender sex-based hierarchies, like anything. Like it's very very broad. And I agree with that. And so I think the to really sum up that point, I agree it's hate speech, Anang, as if anybody would take me seriously though. Um anyway, I'm definitely falling asleep. Okay. So to sum that up, about 3/4 of the way through the chapter, she puts it this way. Any, what is it? Ideology, philosophy, or party, I think is what she uses. Um, which will either turn a blind eye to or actively endorse throwing some women under the bus to like help humanity or help women is anti-feminist, because they are either actively endorsing or turning a blind eye to like a practical action of women hating. So whether that means, you know, pro sex work people who are like, well, some women are sexually exploited or some women are doing it because they're traumatized and have no other options or whatever. There's still a bunch of women who like doing it, right? Okay, well, I mean, she literally says in this chapter, like, saying that women like being sexually exploited is throwing those women under the bus, but I agree with that. Or whether that's like the trans movement, right? Who they're very happy to turn a blind eye to cotton sealing. They're very, very happy to turn a blind eye to the like basically like the metaphysical annihilation of female homosexuality. They're like euphoric over enabling that. Yeah, not even turning a blind eye to, but like actively enabling and perpetuating that. Um, they're essentially anti-feminist. And she even goes so far as to say, which I think to a lot of women in like general feminist spheres of the internet would find this like, you know, kind of like a new concept. Um, agreed, Anung. Anung says privileged white women have always thought it was okay to use poor brown and black women as sewers for men as long as it doesn't affect their privileged lives. I very much agree. Um, which Bell Hooks points out. I think it's the second last chapter of Anti-Woman, where maybe I'm wrong, where she talks about how like the origins of like kind of suffragettes and feminist movements, and like how did black or brown women fit into it? No, well, she doesn't discuss brown. How did black women fit into it? And basically that the white women were doing the thing that I think now a lot of like feminists, even GC or radical women who call themselves radical feminists, are doing now is like, well, you know, if you really want to support women, you need to like take us like accept that you are like the last women we're going to help, right? If you really want to support women as a whole, you need to accept that you're going to get treated like shit until we've accomplished our goals. And I think a lot of women these days, um, they're happy to engage in a politics where that is the premise in some way. Um, I agree with the classism and anti-feminism. Very much agree. Um, you know, when I first got Momo, she was abused, and she would just like hide under couches and hide in cabinets and stuff. And now she sits next to me purring. It's huge progress. Enough. What a vivid description. Analysis. And justice will tinkle down on your head like white women's piss. I wasn't prepared for that. Very accurate. Like a trickle down feminism. That's exactly what it is, though. Yeah, it's that. Oh well, you have to help the. And I mean, okay, let's base this on what we've read in this chapter. Dworkin says right wing women, and her not women who like vote for the right wing or like support right wing leaders. Considers them to be like socially, morally conservative women who buy into like traditional gender roles and traditional sex based oppression. Okay. Um, but so she says right wing women, they have observed this like closed system of misogyny and that all women, no matter their political affiliation, are stuck inside of this, right? And so she says the powerless are trying to give power to the other powerless. And the right wing women think, well, you need to, um, collaborate in some way with the people who have the power to like start getting more power, right? And so they think, well, I'm collaborating with the people in power, the men. So I'm going to get like some kind of tangential or like relational power, right? The feminists, like, and this is a very like purist version of what a feminist is, right? The feminists, they will not collaborate with anyone in power. She literally lists the Heritage Foundation, which, like, considering current times, pretty hilarious or just disappointing. Anyway, um, the feminists, they're in this closed loop of misogyny. They're in this closed loop of powerlessness. How are they supposed to work with other powerless women to get more power? Makes no sense. So I think from when we discuss race and class, like Anung brought up, I think that those feminists, based on what we've read here and based on what Anung says, I think that those like feminists who are like, well, we need to like, well, just the brown or the black women or the poor women, they can wait, right? Because in their minds, they must be thinking, well, among women, there is a scale of power among women, right? Or at least in their mind, there is. Because as Dworkin points out, every woman has like that ultimate wall of like prostitution. It's like the furthest she can go, right? Um, but I think that in the terms of these, like what Dworkin calls them so-called feminists, these so-called feminists, I think they must think like, oh, well, the white women with money and like who have like race privilege and economic privilege, right? Class privilege, among the powerless, they have the most power. So if we can get them to get a foothold, that'll be like the wedge to get the rest of the women in, right? Like I think that's how they think about it. But when you think when you consider that perspective, what I think is I've thought this for a very long time, even before my political like awareness of before my class-based awareness of womanhood was as big as it is now. I've always thought women's power lies in our collective power. So when you think of this like, oh well, if some women can get a foot in, that'll like the rest of the women can eventually get their foot in. So like we just need to be patient. I'm like, but no, because that is like a self-defeating thing because like women's power lies in our collective. So if you start splitting women up like that, and say, "Oh, just wait, just be patient." They're not going to put the work in. We're not going to have the collective, and we're not going to be able to get anything done. Like we need to do it for all women at all the time, not just for one type of woman. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe even that is very red blue base as self defeating. Agreed. Um, but maybe even that is a kind of myopic analysis of it. But I mean, that at this point, right this second, this is what I think. Anung said something. Everybody's replying to it. Wow, the live chat's it's kicking today. Um, What? Rachel says I once got beat up by a bully for using Shakespearean insults. Lol. Oh, here. Anung says Andrea Dworkin worked effectively with Christian conservative women on zoning strip clubs and porn shops out of inner cities, especially in Minneapolis. Very interesting. I had no idea. Useless Strawberry is recommending a short story by Alice Walker called Coming Apart. Explains a lot of men's views on white women and BIPOC women. Agreed. Blood Moon says feminists saying that black women can wait is like male communists saying that feminist issues can wait. Very much agree. Michelle says it's never going to be your turn if it's done that way. Agreed. No, I know you were a theater kid, and I like the concept of Shakespearean um, insults, but to be beat up for it is kind of insane. Okay. Um, it's my one general takeaway. Maybe let's look at the graphs. I liked what she said about like because I think she basically was making a very like one sentence tiny argument against political lesbianism. I don't know if she sees it that way, but I guess she was just trying to like debunk it. After she mentions the charts, I think. Where is that? Maybe not. Okay, whatever. I'll just summarize from memory. So she basically says, so with the charts, well, the first chart, I think that because originally Blood Moon said rape should be in the middle, not pornography. I think that what she means by pornography is like the sexual objectification and dehumanization of women as sex, right? Like, I think that's what she means when she says pornography, because she's like, women are pornography. Women are sexually objectified. They walk around as like a potential use for men to be sexually used, right? I think that's what she means by it. So in the first chart, she has, and the other charts are basically just further explanations of this chart. So in the middle, she has pornography. In the secondary ring, she has battery, rape, economic exploitation, reproductive exploitation. And then the last ring, which she says is like an insurmountable wall, is prostitution. What she's saying is that pornography is the motivator for all of these, the sexualized dehumanization of women, and that prostitution is like the far extreme of it that no woman can escape. Um, yeah. Yeah. So her point about lesbians, though, is that it doesn't matter if you identify as a lesbian or if you live the life as a lesbian. All of these things apply to you. It doesn't matter what your personal, because she's like, everything is about a class consciousness of womanhood, right? So individualized decisions or lifestyles will not change the class like existence of women, which is that you can be raped, that these are like the forms of, she calls it the like male terrorism of females. Like these are the forms of male terrorism, the crimes against women perpetrated by the male class: economic exploitation, reproductive exploitation, battery, rape. You will face these things as like limiting factors as women, as punishments as domination, regardless of your sexual orientation, right? Like when a man wants to punish a woman, when a man wants to feel powerful, whatever, he's not checking which woman feels which way about it, whether she's left or right, whether she is married, unmarried, whether she's gay or straight, lesbian or straight. You know what I'm saying? And whether you're a lesbian or not, the end point of like punishment and like depravity and like desperation for all females is prostitution. I think that's what her point is. Anyway, um, I just thought that was like very salient. Um, Hannah is recommending Women's Declaration International. They have a fair amount of content on Dworkin. I very much agree. I love their content. Um, but what do you mean by sexuality, Anung? Do you mean like the acts that you do or like how you feel? Yeah, I think that when she means this is like you wouldn't even like she when she mentions the um I kind of get what you mean, Blood Moon, because she does mention that like first comes the passion, then comes like the ideology slash the excuse. But she does when she's mentioning so I do kind of get what you mean, Blood Moon. But also I think that Dworkin's point of, you know, if a man looked at other men and saw his purpose, his existence was for being forcibly penetrated, this would be viewed as like an absolute human indignity. Because men can look at women and say their purpose is for being forcibly penetrated, this like leads them to actually do it. On at least on a much grander scale. Which came first? It's hard to know. The Bible, yes. Anung, the homosexuality and Jews chapter. I mean, I know you've read this book, but like very much into that. In fact, too much into that. I don't care that much about the Bible. It was like way too much detail. Um, okay. Uh, yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, whether like I'm kind of disagreeing with you, Blood Moon, but at the end of the day, Dworkin says it doesn't. We don't know which one came first. We don't know, like chicken or egg. But she's like, what we do know is the way things are now. And I think we can all agree that pornography has made things like like literal pornography, like the actual thing that is pornography, not like the metaphorical pornography that she's referring to. That it in the last like 50 years, the existence of pornography has made things much much worse for women. Yeah, I agree that men probably raped before they could talk, but they also probably also saw women as their purpose is to be sexually used before they could talk. Like that's kind of animalistic, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Oh, Blood Moon is Una Vermea. I just call her Blood Moon because I think I was mispronouncing it before, so I decided to just say it in English. Yeah. So It's really strange. Well, not strange. I mean, it's bizarre and yet extremely fucking a- astute and relevant. Um, that her final summary of the book, which honestly seems to kind of be like a summary of the first and last chapters with a few sprinklings in of the middle chapters. Um, she's referencing right wing women, which she's basically categorizes as the women who collude with traditional sex based hierarchies. Um, as like the ultimate, that colluding with that collusion is the ultimate act of anti-feminism, and like the antithesis of like real feminist progress and work. Yeah, I love Momo being here. Momo. Her eyes are open, but she's basically asleep. Um. Anyway, and she's talking like when you hear the word when I hear the word right wing, I think of like the Mormon wives or something like that, right? But really, during this conclusion of this book, all I could think about was the liberal feminists because they're literally saying like give men as much sex as they want, give men the ultimate, like through surrogacy and stuff, the ultimate power over reproduction, give men like um the social like acceptance, the social acceptance to sexually exploit women through like now OnlyFans is a great example of that, right? Give men all of the things that they want, and we're bargaining with them, so if we give them what they want, they're going to be nice to us. As we've seen, like, I mean, femicide has gone up, right? Like, at least since COVID, we have like very clear statistics. Femicide has gone up, right? Battery has gone up. Like, all of these things have gone up. So the the liberal feminists, that I would call them anti-feminists, so-called feminists, um, they are operating on the same premise. If we make a deal with men and give them everything they want, they have to be nice to us because we're giving them what they want. And they don't see that it doesn't work that way. Just like how the like really really traditional conservative woman doesn't see that making this bargain with this man, the husband, makes her stuck in the home, which is the most dangerous place for a woman, right? Just how she can't see that. These liberal feminists also cannot see that striking this bargain with like liberal men also doesn't do that, right? Michelle says liberal feminism is capitulation, not resistance. Very, very much agree. Um, I don't know. I just found that so interesting. Also, just like this is way back at the beginning of the chapter. Something else that she talked about. Possible person says most biological arguments are excuses to not work towards true social equality, unless and until boys and girls are truly raised equally. We will never know. Hey Lisa. Yeah, I agree with that. That's why I find it so strange how many so-called feminists love Jordan Peterson. Like evolutionary psychology is like the epitome of like the biological argument for patriarchy. It's so bizarre to me. Um, it's true, Anung. Anung says liberal feminists, aka anti-feminists, aren't even smart enough to ask for their safety in return, and trans rights activists, females, are even more self-sacrificing. No, it's because they've bought into the propaganda that like feminism is over, like we got everything we need, right? Women can have bank accounts, they can get divorced, rape crisis centers exist. What else do the women need? You know? They bought into that, so they don't think there's anything they need to bargain for. Um, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, okay. So I found it so interesting because I've thought about this before. Oh, I think I screen capped this because I was like thinking, how am I going to analyze this stuff when the chapter is like 45 pages long? Where's my photos? Squeaky! It's not your food. 1 second. Squeaky! Hey! Come here. Yeah, but before you go, say hi. Okay. Look at Momo. She's so useless. Cookie steals her food and she just stands there. No, I wasn't referring to you specifically, Blood Moon. I don't know what your thoughts are on Peterson. Just, I've met radical feminists who think that, well, who think that Peterson is like the second coming of Christ or some shit. Okay. Okay, so she brings up this concept that it's actually anti-feminist, and by that she means like it enables women hating as an act. And this is, I think, in reference to like the social sphere, and like the political sphere, that women are essentially good, right? Women have like a monopoly on morality, right? And I've thought about this before, but she puts it so plainly. What she says is that Momo, don't jump on my keyboard. Bad cat. Well, she's not even awake. Look at that. She's like so dazed. What she says is that by telling women that you are absolutely good, and this comes, of course, from the idea of like chastity and virginity and like innocence and all this crap. One, you're casting women into like this groups of like you need to be perfect and innocent, or else you're not worth listening to. And also, it justifies so much of like isolating women. Like, oh, you're so pure and good and innocent and like morally, superior. We couldn't ask you to make choices about important things. We couldn't ask you to do work that's not pure, innocent, and good, right? That the whole it's just a mechanism, like to isolate women. I thought about that before, and like she just puts it so clearly. I really, really appreciated that. I wish she had a whole essay about that. Maybe she does. Lisa says, there's a difference between saying this is how we evolved and being critical of that, and saying this is how we evolved and we need to continue to act like apes. Very much agree. I agree, Possible Person. Possible Person says, if females and males were truly raised the same, would males still be more violent? Probably. Would the difference be as large as it is now? I don't think so. I agree with that. Okay. Yeah, so she brings up this like innocence thing. Let me look at my screen caps, what I have here. $209. Oh, here, we're here. Okay. No, I agree, Lisa, but I think I've detected before that this putting women on a pedestal thing is actually a way of like discrediting them, right? Okay, so she also in her like women superior, like she's pointing out the different forms of anti-feminism, and by that she means the act of women hating. One of them she points out is like the women superior model in terms of like sexual power, that women have sexual power over men. So basically what she says here, which I totally fucking agree with, is that men like to have control over everything. And when they see a woman and they get a boner, they're like, holy fuck, I don't have control over my body. She made me have a boner. She has the power. And this is a great justification for sexual violence against a woman, right? Um, not even like a justification, but like an ethos for like why men do sex to women in the first place, right? And also it like leads to this like mentality of, or it's like intrinsic to the mentality of, the woman made me have a boner, so she wants me to rape her. She didn't do anything. She's like passive. She's just standing there. But it's like this is the mentality it leads to. And like I just think about like liberal feminists or liberal feminists, anti-feminists, and how they're like, oh yeah, like men find me so hot, so I have like power over them or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know, it's just so sad to me. Like, you don't need to do anything to be hot. Like the fact that you did things to like be attractive to men is like a waste of your time. You didn't even need to do anything like that. Like I'm sure some men would have the same reaction to you either way. But like, the fact that they're doing it to get the same reaction from more men, it's like, what does that get you? It gets you nothing. Like it's so like facile. Like I don't even know. And this also leads to the concept that women being brutalized physically or sexually is an act of love, because oh, she made me feel that way, so I did something about it because I reacted to her because she has power over me, so she deserves it, so she wants it. Like I don't know, like the way that she knits it all together, starting at around page 208, like not of the PDF, but like if you look at the PDF, like the actual number on the page 208, which in the PDF is page 202, um, is just so like ironclad. Okay, I'm gonna read like 3 sentences from this section of the book. Provoking these acts is the power women have over men. Women get men to do these things, to perform these sex acts, aka like, oh, I feel like doing sexual stuff to you, so I'm gonna do it. So you made me do it, right? Because ooh, poor powerless men. In the world, men seem to exercise power, but all of that comes to nothing in the face of lust provoked by women. Whatever he does to her, she is still more powerful than he is because he wants her, he needs her, he is being driven by a desire for her. In the sexual woman superior model, power is articulated as being intrinsically female because power is redefined beyond reason, beyond coherence, as if power is in the corpse that draws the vultures. That phrase, holy shit, bro. Like, what a revelation. Like, that makes so much sense. That makes so much sense to me. Like, that is exactly how I feel about it. She puts it into words. She's like a fucking poet. I love her. Um, can you repeat the quote? Yes, I can. I'll go back one phrase because I think the 2 phrases together is more potent. Whatever he does to her, she is more powerful than he is because he wants her, he needs her, he is being driven to desire for her. In the sexual woman superior model, power is articulated as being intrinsically female because power is redefined beyond reason, beyond coherence, as if power is the corpse that draws the vultures. Like that, it's so fucking accurate. Um, Hannah says, I'm already a man hater today. This may drive me full Valerie Solonis. Hannah, the next book we're reading is Intercourse. I think that might drive you over the edge. Um, I almost feel like I need to trigger warning all of that book because it's very upsetting. I think she has like a whole 50-page chapter that's basically the Madonna whore complex. So I'm very interested in that. Um, Anung. Fucking amazing. Anung says, a corpse has no power at all. Nature has power. Lightning has powers. Rivers have power. Wind has power. People confuse authority with power. All men have over us is authority. Like, yes. Okay. Well, Anung has been around a while. She's wise. Yes, or intercourse to liberate you sexually. But I think that Hannah is probably beyond needing that at this point. I mean, I don't know. I don't know her very well, obviously, but from the sense I get in the live chat. I mean, Hannah, aren't you a lesbian? Am I wrong? Okay. Okay. I'm going to wrap this up. Oh my god. Okay. I have now been awake for 12 hours. Okay. So, I'm obviously going to cancel part 2 of this because we finished the book today. Which I'm glad we did. Maybe for final chapters, I should make a point of always doing the final chapter in one sitting, even if it's long, and just like psych myself up for it. Oh, I have coffee. Should have got no ice. Huh. It's like you can't see, but it's like, oh, maybe you can. It's like dark down here. Then it's like a light up here because the ice will. So, I think I'm going on Wednesday. We are reading like the introduction, the acknowledgments, the foreword, the preface. Yeah. And the epigraphs. I can't remember. Of Intercourse. I want to do all of that stuff. And then you will not see me for like 5 days in a row because I am traveling and I need to like do that and like prepare for that and all that stuff. So I'm gonna read all of the like before stuff of Intercourse before I travel. And then like in a week, like I will start reading Intercourse. All of the Intercourse series is pre-scheduled. As always, check my YouTube channel. The dates and times are very tentative. We will see once I've traveled how things are. But they're also, if you go and click notification, if I change it, you will still get a notification like, oh, it's been changed, and like, oh, it's starting now. So the fact that it's scheduled means you can keep track of it. And as always, playlist. You keep track. All of my stuff is in a playlist when I schedule it. So you just click on the playlist of the readings and you can scroll through and see all the dates and times of all the readings. Before I go, Yes, thank you, Rachel. I definitely don't do that. Rachel says I will post it in the Discord when they are happening. Yes, thank you. The other thing, oh yeah, I made another Twitter. It is like not anonymous. We'll see how long it goes. I can't fucking type today. Well, part of it is because I have my keyboard like all the way over there, and then I have my iPad here. So when I'm typing while I'm reading, it's like very strange. Is that how you spell it? I think so. This is my new Twitter. Please go follow. I tweet every single time I'm about to start a live stream. I will tweet it all the time. So just we'll have intercourse on Sunday. Yeah, that's funny. Apostle person, amazing. Wait, Apostle person says, "Y'all always inspire me to have opinions." Yeah, that's just what I want. I'm like, you can disagree with me. I just want you to like have a reason you disagree and like think it through for yourself. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so go follow me on my new Twitter. I will see you on Wednesday for the introduction and preface and blah 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 of intercourse. Yeah, okay, so Momo. Well, usually I pick her up and bring her to the camera, but she's here, so I will not do that. Momo, say goodbye to the sisters. Momo, look here. There you go. I was kind of considering removing this thing because she only sat on it for one day, you know? And then every time I put her here, she jumps on my keyboard. But I think it's okay. I think I'm going to leave it here. Kamutagio, what's up? Rachel says, I love that disagreement can happen here. Very, very much agree. It's like essential. They would kind of be pointless if we all just had to say the same shit to each other over and over again. Okay. So yeah, I have to do a bunch of chores and stuff. I mean, I'm going to let myself get in bed in 4 hours. Because otherwise I won't be able to wake up for work in the morning. Yeah. Okay. And then I'll be tired tomorrow. Okay. So I'll see you guys on Wednesday. I think it says 11:15. I don't freaking know. Go look at what I scheduled it for, and that's when I'll be here. Okay. Have a great night, guys. Bye.